When it comes to things that have inspired characters and objects in pieces of media, the Lesser Key of Solomon has to be up there in terms of the sheer number of characters that have been drawn from it. But despite that, I feel like it's one of those things that most people are unaware of, likely due to the overall obscurity of the source material. While I definitely don't have time to go over the background of the Ars Goetia in its entirety in this video, I'll give you the short version. The Lesser Key of Solomon was an anonymously authored grimoire that was compiled in the 17th century, utilizing primarily materials from centuries prior, the primary one being Johann Weyer's 1577 hit, the Pseudo-Monarchia Daemonum. It would be followed up in 1818 with the Dictionnaire Infernal, written by Jacques Collin de Plancy. This was further built upon in the 1863 version, which included illustrations for 69 of the demons, done by Louis Le Breton. Many of the demons aren't portrayed as outright evil, a far cry from how modern perception views the term demon. Many are quite helpful and enlightening, albeit if you don't try to cheat or deceive them. The texts are not considered canon to proper Abrahamic cultures, so don't expect to pick up the Torah and start reading all about Fornius. Despite this, a handful of demons do actually share ties to figures with Abrahamic origins, and you'll hear about quite a few of them in this video. And that was the abridged version. If you'd like to know more about the Lesser Key of Solomon, its background, and how it's viewed today, there's other videos out there that go much more in depth than I ever could. So what does this have to do with Yu-Gi-Oh? Given that Yu-Gi-Oh is a series whose archetypes can be based on just about anything, it should come as no surprise that these demons have found their way into the game in some way, shape, or form. An archetype based on toys? Sure. Power Rangers? I don't see why not. Star Wars meets Wizard of Oz. I might make a video dedicated to that one, actually. Really, these demons are a no-brainer. What's interesting, however, is that rather than getting one single focused archetype, they sorta got two, plus some generic cards here and there, most of which were used by Yako Tenma in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Art manga. So I'll be walking you through the demons in order, then showing you the cards based on them. So let's not waste any more time here. Before we get into the actual demons though, how about we talk about the book they appear in, because there is cards based on that. Clavkiss the Magikey Skyblaster and Magikey Maftea are both named after different names for the Lesser Key of Solomon. In Latin, the text is known as Clavicula Salomonis, and in Hebrew it's known as Mafte Shalomo. The first demon is also one of the most iconic, Baal. He is the head of infernal powers, a king of hell, and he rules over 66 legions of demons. He has 3 heads, those of a cat, a toad, and a man. He's capable of granting his summoner the power of invisibility, and he's been conflated with the individuals Baal and Beelzebub, although the 3 are each distinct individuals. In Yu-Gi-Oh, he's depicted in the form of Beelgril de Novelle. While the two share next to no visual similarities, it's worth noting that the two share similar roles, with Beelgril being the strongest member of his archetype, and he's also a level 6 monster, possibly a reference to the 66 legions of demons that Baal commands. The second demon is Agares. He is a Duke of Hell and commands 31 legions of demons. He's usually depicted as an elderly man riding a crocodile and carrying a hawk on his left fist. He has the ability to make runaways come back, make those who stand still begin running, stop thieves, grant noble titles, and cause earthquakes. He's been depicted as 2 different monsters within Yu-Gi-Oh!, the first one being number 60, Dugares the Timeless. With the exception of his lack of a crocodile, this design is pretty accurate to his description, although his overall effect is related to time, which Agares himself has no ties to. The other monster is Magikey Mech Mortar Gares Glasser, which seems to take the appearance of a crocodile, at least to me. The third demon is Vasago. He is a prince of hell, and he commands 26 legions of demons. He appears as an angel, and is said to be of a good nature. He grants his summoner the ability to see events from the past and future, and he can discover hidden and lost objects. In Yu-Gi-Oh, he appears as Versago the Destroyer, who he seems to bear little resemblance to in terms of appearance or effect. He's also one of the few monsters in this video that has actually appeared in the anime. The fifth demon is Marbus. He is a great president of hell, and he commands 36 legions of demons. He appears as a great lion that transforms into a man when commanded to. He answers truthfully on the topic of hidden or secret things, causes and heals diseases, teaches mechanical arts, and can transform men into other shapes. In Yu-Gi-Oh, he is represented by Beast King Barbaros, as well as its other two forms. All three capture a mixture of a lion and a man in their designs, so I'd say they aren't too far off. The sixth demon is Valifor. He's a Duke of Hell, and he rules over 10 legions of demons. He's depicted as a lion with the head of either a man or a donkey. He tempts people to steal, and is said to be in charge of a good relationship amongst thieves. He enjoys betraying humans and tricking them. In Yu-Gi-Oh, he appears as Kawaki Meru Valifar, who bears no resemblance to him, and instead looks much more like a generic demon. The eighth demon is Barbatos. He is a Duke of Hell who commands 30 demon legions. His exact appearance isn't exactly described, although what we do know is that he appears with 4 noble kings and their companies of troops. He grants the ability to understand the speech of animals, reveal hidden and concealed objects, tell past and future events, and reconcile disputes between friends and those who hold power. He also once belonged to the Angelic Order of Virtues. In Yu-Gi-Oh, he appears as Magiki Mech Musket Batos Buster, who seems to reference the Le Breton artwork of Barbatos, depicting him as a man with a gun. In this instance, the monster is the gun itself, and it definitely isn't a musket, but it's the thought that counts. The 10th demon is Buer. He governs 50 legions of demons, and is a great president of hell. He has been depicted in the shape of a Sagittarius, or a centaur with a bow and arrow. However, his more recognizable appearance is that of the head of a lion, along with 5 goat legs sprouting off of him, so he can travel in all directions. He is a knowledgeable figure, teaching philosophy, logic, and the virtues of plants and herbs. He is also known to heal and cure men, and bestow them with good familiars. Within Yu-Gi-Oh, the card Bureau Besse de Novelle has 5 limbs, in reference to the 5 goat legs. The 14th demon, and my personal favorite, is Laraye. He is a mighty great Marquis of Hell, and he commands 30 legions of demons. He appears as a gallant and handsome archer garbed in green, carrying a bow and quiver. He's associated with war and conflict, and he causes battles and disputes. He's best known for the gangrene wounds he can cause with his arrows. He appears in Yu-Gi-Oh! In the form of Laraye, the god of archery. While it is nice to see that they at least understood that he's an archer, he was not a god of archery, and he also isn't wearing green as he was described. Also, I know beauty is subjective, but that face doesn't exactly scream handsome to me. The 17th demon is Botis. He is a great president and Earl of Hell, and he rules over 60 legions of demons. He is described as a hideous viper, but can change his shape into that of a man with big teeth, 2 horns, and a flaming sword in hand. He can tell of all things past and future, and he is adept at reconciling friends and foes. He is depicted as 2 monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh! First is Pueltis de Novelle, who appears to sport the horns but not much else in common. The other card, Votis, is pretty much spot on, being a composite of basically all of Botis' characteristics, aside from the teeth. The 25th demon is Glaziolabalas. He is a mighty president of hell commanding 36 legions of demons, and he appears in the form of a dog with the wings of a griffin. He is the author and captain of manslaughter and bloodshed, gains the minds and love of friends and foes, can make humans fall in love and turn them invisible. Out of all the demons in this video, Glaziolabalas appears in the highest number of cards, for some reason. Foiglazia de Novelle has the wings, but not much else in common. Earthbound servant Geogracia has Glaziolabalas as his Japanese name, but bears much more resemblance to a Baphomet than the demon he's actually named after. Magiki Beast Ansialabalas and Casa are definitely the ones that are much closer to the mark, sporting the dog appearance, albeit neither one having the griffin wings. Casa is also another name for Glaziolabalas. Astaroth is the 29th demon, and the Great Duke of Hell who commands 40 demon legions, and is also one of the few Goetia demons that has been referred to in proper Abrahamic lore, being mentioned as a female figure known as Ashtoreth. The name was derived from the Phoenician goddess Astarte, who herself was derived from the Babylonian Ishtar, and before that, the Sumerian Inanna. Astaroth's first appearance as a male demon was in the 1458 story, the Book of Abramelin. Since then, Astaroth has been associated with the Qliphoth, and is said to be a member of the evil or unholy Trinity, alongside Lucifer and Beelzebub. He is described as appearing in the form of a naked man with feathered wings riding atop a dragon, or dragon-like creature, whilst wearing a crown and holding a serpent in his hand. He also teaches mathematical sciences and handicrafts, makes men invisible, leads them to treasure, can answer any question he is asked, and bestows his summoner with control over serpents. Astaroth is depicted in 2 cards, one of which is a rush duel card. Magic-y deity Ashtartu possesses the feathered wings of Astaroth himself, as well as a dragonic wing and a serpent's tail. Blaze Fiend's overlord Belucidaroth is a maximum monster who represents the members of the evil Trinity, with the right piece being Astaroth in the female depiction. She is holding a snake and sitting on a serpent or dragon. The 31st demon is Phoros. He's a powerful president of Hell that commands 29 legions of demons. He's depicted simply as a strong man, with no other distinguishing features given. He teaches logic and ethics, the virtues of herbs and precious stones, can make men witty, eloquent, live long, or invisible, and he can find and discover lost items. He's represented in the card Confiros de Novelle, which he bears no resemblance to, aside from maybe the little muscles. The 32nd demon is Asmodeus, who rules over 72 demon legions, and is another figure who's actually somewhat canon to biblical texts. He first appeared in the Book of Tobit as the main antagonist, and again in the Talmud under the name Ashmedai. And while not part of any biblical canon, Asmodeus is typically placed in the 7 princes of Hell as the representation of the sin of lust. He is strong, powerful, and appears with 3 heads, those of a bull, a man, and a ram, and he spews flames from his mouth. He sits upon an infernal dragon and holds a lance with a banner. In Yugioh, he's represented by Dark Lord Asmodeus, whom he shares no apparent similarities with. Gop is the 33rd demon. He is a mighty prince and great president of Hell, ruling over 66 demon legions, and he appears in the shape of a human. He has many abilities, including teaching philosophy and liberal sciences, causing love or hate, making men insensible or invisible, giving answers about past, present, or future, and he can carry men and objects from one nation to another pretty quickly. And according to some authors, he can also make men ignorant. In Yu-Gi-Oh!, he is represented by Gop the Divine Soldier, who has a humanoid form and an effect that controls the positions of all monsters, possibly referencing his ability to make men hate each other, and as a result be in attack mode. The 34th demon is Furfur. He is a great and powerful Earl of Hell, ruling over 26 legions of demons. He appears as a winged deer, or sometimes as an angel. He is a liar, although he will answer questions truthfully if he is compelled to enter a magical triangle, after which he will answer in a rough voice. He causes love between men and women, creates storms, tempests, thunder, and lightning, and he also teaches secrets and divine things. He's represented by Magic-y fiend Transformine, who, ironically, looks much more demonic than angelic. At the very least, I have to give him credit for representing the lightning aspect of Furfur, despite being a fire monster. The 35th demon is Marcosius. He is a great Marquis of Hell, ruling over 30 demon legions. He appears as a wolf with a man's features, as well as the wings of a griffin and the tail of a serpent, although he can transform into a man if asked. He is a strong fighter and reliable to his summoner, answering any question they ask truthfully. He had hoped for centuries that he could return to heaven with the non-fallen angels, although he was deceived in that hope. He appears in Yu-Gi-Oh! As fabled Marcosia, who he's pretty accurate to in terms of design, with the griffin wings and snake tail. He can also be seen in his wolf form in the artwork of fabled Treason. The 36th demon is Stolas. He is a great prince of Hell commanding 26 legions of demons. He appears as a raven or crowned owl with long legs. He teaches astronomy and is knowledgeable about herbs, plants, and precious stones. In Yu-Gi-Oh, it's a bit odd because the card based on him hasn't been printed yet, as it's part of an anime-exclusive archetype. Storm Rider ships Stella Storm as well, a ship, so it's not going to have a ton to do with him visually, but the front of the ship has an owl's head on it, so at least there's that. The 42nd demon is Vapor. He's a Duke of Hell and rules over 29 legions of demons. He's depicted as a mermaid, although he is still male. Fitting his appearance, Vapor governs the waters and guides ships loaded with ammo and weapons, and he can make the seas rough and stormy if requested. He can make men die in 3 days by putrefying their wounds and causing worms to grow in them, although he can reverse this and heal them should a summoner ask him to. Magic-Key Spirit Vaportu is inspired by him, and although not a mermaid, he is of the sea serpent type and a water attribute. The 47th demon is Duel. He's a great Duke of Hell who commands 37 demon legions. He's depicted as a camel who changes shape into a man after a while. He grants the love of women, causes friendship between even foes, and tells of things past, present, and future. In Yu-Gi-Oh, he appears as Obsessive Uvualu, who sports the human-like camel appearance, and his name possibly hints at feelings of romance. The 51st demon is Balam. He's a king of hell who commands 40 demon legions. He has 3 heads, those belonging to a bull, a man, and a ram respectively. He has flaming eyes, the tail of a serpent, with a hawk on his fist as he rides atop a bear. Other depictions simply have him as a naked man riding on a bear. He gives the perfect answers on all things past, present, and future, and he can make men invisible or witty. In Yu-Gi-Oh, he's represented by Balaminure de Novelle, who is wielding both the hawk and bear associated with Balam. The 56th demon is Gremory. He is a Duke of Hell who commands 26 legions of demons. He appears as a beautiful woman with the crown of a duchess tied around his waist, and he rides a camel. Just like Vapor, he is male despite his female appearance. He tells all things past, present, and future, and procures the love of women, young and old, but especially maidens. In Yu-Gi-Oh, he appears as Fabled Grimro, whom he has nothing in common with. The 63rd demon is Andras. He is a great Marquis of Hell, ruling over 30 legions of demons. He appears as a winged angel with the head of an owl or raven, riding a black wolf and wielding a bright sword. He sows discord amongst people, and is described as so dangerous that he could kill his summoner if proper precautions aren't taken. In Yu-Gi-Oh, he appears as Fabled Andraith, who has his wings and sword, as well as a mask that resembles a bird. The 67th demon is Amdusius. He is a Duke of Hell, and he commands 29 demon legions. His appearance is that of a human with the head of a unicorn, claws for hands and feet, and a trumpet to represent his powerful voice. He is associated with thunder, and it's said that his voice can be heard during storms. Other sources have said that his voice is accompanied by trumpets, and he will perform a concert if asked, although his instruments will be invisible. He's in charge of the music that is played in Hell, and he can make trees bend to his will. In Yu-Gi-Oh, he's represented by Dark Lord Amdusius, who is a unicorn but doesn't have much else in common with him. The 68th demon is Belial, who is another demon with biblical ties. He is a king of hell ruling over 80 legions of demons as well as 50 legions of spirits. The term Belial has Hebrew origins, generally meaning worthless or without value. He has held multiple roles across numerous texts, both biblical and occult, although he is almost always an antagonistic figure, with his most well-known role generally being a personification of evil itself, or sometimes the devil. In the Ars Goetia, he was supposedly created next after Lucifer himself. He's been described to appear in the form of 2 beautiful angels sitting in the chariot of fire, a deceptively kind appearance. He has also been depicted pretty closely to the typical imagery of the devil, with horns and a menacing appearance and glare. He is able to distribute senatorships and give good familiars. He is generally required to be presented with gifts and offerings upon his summoning, or else he will not answer what is demanded of him truthfully. In Yu-Gi-Oh, he appears as Belial, Marquis of Darkness. Fittingly, he is depicted as a fallen angel. Our final and 72nd demon is Andromalius. He is an Earl of Hell commanding 36 demon legions. He appears as a man holding a large snake in his hand. He can bring back a thief and the goods they stole, discover hidden treasures as well as evilness and dishonest dealings. In Yu-Gi-Oh!, he appears as Magic-Key Dragon Andra Bime, whose design likely has Clavkiss representing the man, and the dragon representing the serpent. And that's the video. I'd been hoping to do a series going over the actual inspirations for card designs, and I felt like this is a topic you don't hear about all too much. I know speaking of these demons is sort of a touchy subject to some, but regardless, the influence they've had on popular culture can't be denied. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one of those things. This has been EmeralD, going forth and not looking back.